All right, so we have started recording. So guys, first of all, thank you so much for taking a couple of hours out of your day to join this Officiant Training. Some of you, like Ness, I just met last weekend at a wedding in New Hill. So Ness, congratulations on your journey on being a new officiant. I also have been working with Victoria. Pam, you are new as well. Maria and Stephanie, you all are new as well. And then we've got two on-site location officiants. That's Iris Talford and Cornelius Reese. So I want to welcome you all here today. Thank you for taking this journey with me. If you look at the agenda, first of all, we're going to talk about building an online brand. So first of all, I want to go around and I want to kind of each one of you tell me where you are in your wedding business, how you got started, and what are you looking for to do in the business. So first of all, I'm going to actually go to my location people first. So Iris, if you will kind of tell everybody, introduce yourself and kind of tell everybody, you know, why you decided to be a wedding officiant.
Well, again, hello everyone. I just decided mostly because you made it look so easy, number one. Two, with the Roddy Ranch, we were already doing weddings, and me personally, I'm just more interested in the elopement package. Well, where persons just come and just want to get married. That's it. They don't want all the fluff and everything else. Location wise, just go to different locations. Again, I'm just in the beginning stages, so I know that probably will eventually grow because I've seen you grow as well in reference to that, where you started saying, I just wanted to do these certain things, and then it's grown and grown. So right now, that's kind of, because I work a full-time job, it's pretty tedious. That's kind of where I want to go now, just for the elopements, just something to pick up, really a part-time job that I don't have to clock in. I can set my own hours and be a benefit to someone else. So that's kind of my journey right now.
All right. Did you guys hear her? Can I get? Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Yes, I heard a little bit. It is very hard to hear, but I can hear a little bit.
Okay, great.
Yes, I heard her.
Okay, perfect. All right, so then our next officiant that we've got on site that I want to introduce themselves is my husband, Cornelius Reese. And Reese, so kind of tell them a little bit about yourself and why you decided to get into the officiant business.
Okay, well, hi, everybody. As you all probably know, I'm the husband of Katrina, and being her husband, I shadowed her a lot with some of her weddings, and that's where I was introduced to marrying folks, elopements, and ceremonials. What made me fall in love with this business is after watching a lot of people be married. Now, I just saw certain things that was intriguing to me and appealing, and I kind of loved the idea. I fell in love with the idea of uniting people, you know, on that, and sending people on that road, that lovely road, for a lifetime. That's what kind of caught me, and now I'm in love with it. And it's like my sister. Initially, I only wanted to do elopements, but it didn't turn out that way. I started getting a lot of requests, and so now I'm in full-fledged, 100%. Everything is going wonderful. It's just a joy to see people in love, taking that next step, you know, to being together for a lifetime.
Well, thank you, Reese. I appreciate it. All right, so next we're going to go to Victoria. Victoria, if you will kind of tell everybody about yourself and how you decided that you wanted to go into the wedding industry.
Hey, everybody. Well, I'm sitting here thinking of a couple of things. Well, I'm a certified master life coach, so you know, coaching people is always a pleasure to help other people get on their journey and see where they want to go. but I also have I do floor arrangements and floor and, you know, floral and wedding decorations. I've done that for several years. And so just having a conversation. I watched Katrina from, her start with this, and it has just been amazing to me to see what she has done. Like her husband said, I sit back and I watched, and I just, it just was really intriguing to me. And then having a conversation with her, and seeing how I can implement this as a part of what I like to do with the floral arrangements. But like Ms. Reese said, I'd like the idea of uniting other people. But a few years ago, a lady told me when I was starting to do wedding bouquets, she said, why do you want to do wedding bouquets? And I said, because I want to get married one day. I want to get remarried one day. And she said, saturate yourself within the market that you want to have your dreams manifest. And so I guess on the other side of that, I'm manifesting what I don't have presently in my life as a husband, but I want to be able to manifest seeing other people and joining together and being a part of a true relationship. And so being a certified master life coach, I also see the need for people to understand how unions are formed and what the pleasure of it is. And so I'm anxious to do elopements, and I'm got an idea in my head already from talking to Katrina about something I want to do. So I'm just excited. I think it would be a great way to make some extra money, but also network with other people. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Victoria. Pam, I've got you next on the screen. Kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know I just saw you post that you did a wedding recently. So talk to us about that.
Hello, everybody. I'm Pamela Shaw. Well, I'll start here. I didn't know that I wanted to get into officiant. Being an officiant as a business. Quite honestly, I got grandfathered into this because I pastor a church. And so actually before that, I planned my first wedding eons ago, sitting in my now husband's cousin's living room floor, and she looked at me and said, "You're gonna plan my wedding." I have an administrative and like type OCD background anyway, so that was something that was up my alley. So planning her wedding gave me drive to want to actually event plan and stuff like that. So life fast forward and got ordained to be a pastor. And ended up having my the wedding that Katrina speaks of is my actual second one. The first one that I actually had to do two of my members, and I didn't know anything about the script and what to do and the logistics. So I messaged Katrina because I had been seeing what she had been doing and everything basically exploding for her. And I knew I could, where do I get the words and how does this, and like in a matter of a day or so, with her just sending me some information and me going and cutting and pasting, and I had a script for it. And so I guess, well, not that I guess, I know this is something that I'll end up continuing to do because people are still falling in love and people are still getting married. And so I didn't realize that, quite honestly, that this was a whole, and I don't want to say thing loosely, but like a whole thing, to the point where you're doing what you're doing and people are actually seeking out officiants to this like small box world. I just thought it was the pastor at the church, and it didn't see like anything really out past that. So this is just something for me to add to, especially since event planning and things of that nature is something that I've not let go. I think it'll be a beautiful addition to all of the thousands of other things that I already do. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Pam. All right, well, let's go to Vanessa, which is Ness.
Hi.
Hello.
It's very difficult to hear what anybody's saying. So I'm just gonna, I just got into ordaining weddings.
Driving. She's in the car. Go ahead, Ness.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead. You good.
Oh,
Go
okay. I just got into ordaining weddings last year. It was kind of by mistake. my friend had asked if I knew anything about it. I thought I was doing research and I answered my email. And then they were like, okay. So I did hers and then I just did my second one when I met Katrina. Um, I just, I love seeing people join together in marriage. I love love. I want more of it and I love to be involved in it. That's
Awesome, awesome.
pretty much it.
And Ness, don't worry, this is being recorded, so we'll send you the recording later on, okay?
Okay,
We
okay.
missed some spots, okay. We've got a few more people. I'm Stephanie. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to go ahead and introduce yourself. Then I'll go to Maria. And then I'm not sure who's at the phone number 704-632. I'm sorry, 634-2740. Just put in the chat who this is. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Horton, and I had also have been watching Katrina do her weddings, and I just kind of put a little buzz in her ear, and I was like, "Oh, that looks fun. Maybe I'll try something like that." So, my thing is just to get into the elopement side again, and maybe do smaller weddings. I am a life coach. That's how I met Katrina and Victoria. I have a candle business and I just love love. And my thing is just to bring people together in love, with the true meaning of love. And hopefully I'm going to retire in 3 years. So this can be a part-time something for me after I retire.
All right now, that sounds good. The money's there, I tell you it is. All right, and Maria?
Hi there. I'm sorry. I did not have my microphone on.
No worries.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maria. I know Katrina, of course, and a little bit of what Iris said and a little bit of what Victoria said is kind of where I'm at. I have always loved weddings since I was 5 years old, and my uncle sent my aunt over from England, and my mother, and planning their helping them plan their wedding. We went to a bridal shower at the Hilton in our county. And I can remember tasting the cake sample because my aunt ended up ordering that cake and everything. And I have been hooked with weddings ever since. Um, I have always thought about doing wedding planning and different things like wedding decor, the dresses. I've always been that dreamer because I've always had that idea of a dream wedding in my own mind, like Victoria said, and hoping that one day that will be me. Still do. But I never could have imagined this side of it. I never thought I could possibly do this. And then watching Katrina do it, of course, she makes it look easy. Of course, she is already ordained, like for real ordained. So it was still like watching her going, oh, wow, isn't that great? She's doing it. But as I'm looking for other revenue streams and other lines of work to do, because my day job is so demanding, and what I was trying to do was do similar work or related work to my day job on the side. And that is, it's too demanding, it's too stressful. And so I'd been thinking about it. And then I talked to a cousin who's in a related field to what we're in. And we were both saying the same thing. We both had desires and have our own businesses in related businesses in our fields. But she lives I live in Baltimore, she lives in Columbus. She had been thinking about officiating too, and she went ahead and got the paperwork. She just went all in. I was like, oh wait, hold up, I've got to get it too. So here I am, and here we are. Kind of what Reese said, Cornelius said, is that I really am looking at like elopements and micro weddings, but just here for I saw when Katrina did the last training where she did the multi-week with her cohort, and I was like, I should have done that, but at the time I hadn't signed up. Now I'm signed up, and I really got to launch this because I definitely need the stream of income. And it's just another aspect. Again, I've always loved weddings, so it's just another aspect of the business that I never thought would be me, and here I am.
All
Thank
right,
you.
all right. Well, thank you so much, Victoria, Maria. Who is the 704-634-2740? Who is that? Can you come off of mute and tell us who you are? Okay, all right. Well, they don't want to come off mute. Well, we'll just keep moving. All right, then. So you guys definitely have given me an idea of, where I need to help you at and in what area. So we're just going to do a brief, definitely overview of each nugget that I've shown you. Can everybody see the agenda? Okay, great. So first of all, some of you have been registered through American Marriage Ministries, is that correct? And then some of you have gone through Universal. So if you're in North Carolina, let me just go ahead and tell you this. Universal is in a lawsuit now with the state of North Carolina because state of North Carolina is fighting with them about recognizing them as a online, registering officiants online. But I do know that the one that Reese and Iris and a few more of you are registered with, American Marriage Ministries, they are legit. They are actually a 501c3 that is an ministry, and their online courses that you can get and be registered with can be recognized in North Carolina. And Ness, I think I told you that, and I sent you that information. So if you know anybody that's registered through Universal, I would definitely get you to suggest that they go through AMM. They are just $45. They may be going up, but I tell you, they give you your ordination papers. They give you a letter of good standing, just in case, the county that you're marrying someone in, whether it's North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, they give you a letter of good standing. That way, if they need that as proof, you can send that to them. If you are a licensed and ordained minister through your church, you're good in North Carolina or anywhere in the United States, but AMM recognizes all over the country. So if you get their book, and Vanessa, have you gotten your information, your credentials through them yet?
No, not yet. They're on the way.
Okay, great. If you look at their book, they actually have every state, and it actually shows you what states, how many witnesses you have to have. If you have to register with a specific county in that state. Virginia is definitely one of them because it's a Commonwealth. I just want to throw that out there. If you marry someone in Virginia, you will have to register your license with that county. And I've done that with several counties there because I've done a couple of weddings in Virginia. So I just want to give that to you as a little caveat. If you do weddings in Virginia, you do have to send them a copy of your letter of good standing, and you do have to send them a copy of your ordination license, and then they will get you in their system and you're good to go. Okay. But if you're licensed and ordained through your local church, you still have to do that, but you don't have to go through the rigmarole or fight as far as being ordained online. Okay, does that answer any questions for anybody? Does anybody have any questions about that? Yeah, okay, great. All right. So,
Katrina.
yeah, oh, okay, go ahead, Pam.
Because you talking about from south to north, does that work in reverse for this way to that way?
Where are you, what state are you in?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia. I'm in Virginia.
Okay, and sorry about that. And you are ordained minister, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what happens is when the couple goes to get their marriage license, what they normally will ask is, are you using someone online, or are you using a minister that's been ordained through their local church? And then if the couple comes back to you and if they tell you, hey, we need you to contact the county and they need to get your credentials, then that's what you do. You reach out to that particular county. Not all counties do it, Pam, but I know for a fact there are at least 3 that I've married in Virginia in certain counties, and I had to show my credentials and get licensed with them.
Okay. Okay.
But it's only if the couple tells you. If the couple comes back and say, hey, they need that, then yes, you need to definitely follow up. So I would definitely encourage you to do that.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else got any quick questions about Virginia?
No.
Perfect. Okay. So a lot of you are just wanting to do elopements. If you're just wanting to do elopements, that is absolutely great. I'm going to give you 3 things as far as an elopement officiant, what you definitely need to have in your back pocket right now. You definitely need to have your license. You need to have you a logo. You don't have to have a website, but at least have you some type of logo. And you need to get registered with the Google Business Profile. Get registered. And if you need me to show you how to set that up, you can email me separately and we can walk through that. I know my sister, we did hers, and sometimes they'll ask you to get registered. They'll ask you to they'll send you a postcard with some kind of number on it, which will register you. And some of us didn't have that issue. So I'm getting ready to work with her now so we can get that resolved for her. But once you guys get your Google Business Profile set up, which is number 6 on the list, let me know and I'll walk you through that, how to set that up. Does everybody have a logo? If you do not have a logo, if you don't have a logo, you definitely need one. And I'm going to tell you why, because your logo is really good to have even if you don't have a website. Because what happens is when you're marketing and branding yourself and you're reaching out to couples, they want to see that professionalism in your business. Yeah, you probably have done elopements, for family and friends, but if you want to take it to the next level, having a logo just makes you legitimate. Okay? Logo makes you legit.
Okay.
And also, when you set up your Google business page, you will need a logo. And with that logo, you'll also need referrals, or you'll need people to reference, do some references for you. So I want you to also be thinking about that. When we set up your Google business page, think about people that know you personally, even though you haven't done any weddings yet, or even if you have. If you haven't done weddings, go ahead and get your friends to go ahead and give you some references. That's what we did for Reese. We went on and we had a few people to give him some reviews. And then from there, that sets you up on your SEO search as a wedding officiant or an elopement officiant. That sets you up and puts you up in that search. So when couples are looking for elopements, your name should come up somewhere in that search as an officiant or in that area. So it's very important that you have a logo, you get people to give you reviews, and you got to definitely get that set up. Okay. The next thing with that, I want to roll into pricing. Pricing is very important. Pam, do you have pricing set up or right now for your church members? Or are you just doing this because they're members at your church?
Because they're members at my church.
Okay.
That's how it's been so far. So
okay. So, but if you want to move it to the next level, I want you to start thinking about pricing, okay? These are people outside of your church. When I first started in this business, this was separate from elopements. I charged $150. And then as I started working with my business coach, she was like, Katrina, that's not enough. With all the stuff that you do, especially if you travel, especially if you have to write scripts, if you get together and you spend time with the couple, getting to know their story, you need to charge more than $150. Okay. So if you're starting out as a wedding officiant, even with elopements, you can do $150 for elopements because that's, a 15-minute ceremony. But if you're looking to do full wedding ceremonies, I definitely suggest you go from $200 and up. Okay. Anybody got any questions about that?
Is that the basic price, $150, or does it have to be that, or is that just something you set for yourself?
When I first started, I Googled.
Okay.
And so I Googled and saw that at the time, $150 was the base fee that you could charge as an officiant.
Okay.
And then as I started doing it more and more and networking with more officiants and start getting more exposure, they were like, you need to charge more. And definitely when I got with my business coach, because think about the time and energy, just put elopements aside. Think about the time and energy. First of all, you're going to have to do a call with your couple. And then think about, learning their story. If you decide to do full weddings, you got to get to know them. So that's 15, 20, 30 minutes of your time. So think about you getting paid for your time. And even with an elopement, you're only using 15, 20 minutes of your time to marry them because it's not a full per se wedding. You still have to build in the money for your time and labor and for gas. Because if elopement, they're not coming to you unless you say, hey, come to me and I'll marry you in my front yard, like me and my husband used to do. But if you're meeting them somewhere in a park or at your church or whatever, you need to build in your transportation as well. Sure. And so with pricing, always make sure when you're building in your pricing, think about your transportation, think about your time and energy that you've put in. Okay.
That's what I was at. So say for instance, if someone says, I need you, like you've already quoted them 150, or you've put that on your business. If that's a part of your, like say for instance, you have a business account or you have a website set up and it says starting at 150. And then someone calls and says, hey, can you do something this evening? Can you say, you had a right to say, because this is at the last moment, we add $50 on that because you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to either rush or you're gonna have to make arrangements to do certain things. Do you have a right to do that? Do you tell them that? Is that just the norm? How does that work?
Well, there's 3 questions that I heard out of that. Okay. So the 150 that I started was just doing a full wedding. And then, like I said, as I started doing more, I grew, and so did my pricing. Okay. But if you're just looking to do an elopement, then you would talk about that with the couple at the very beginning. Even if it's somebody that called you at the last minute and say, hey, can you marry me in Joe Blow? We're 15 minutes out. Okay. So think about that too. When there's transportation and if it's further than 30 miles, then yeah, I would definitely suggest more money. Okay. But if it's something that's within a 30 or less mile radius, I would definitely keep it within that dollar price. Okay. Now, Reese has gone up on his elopements because he's learning that, I'm putting my time and energy, I'm having to wait on you. Plus, with elopements, a lot of times people are late. This is another thing I want you guys to think about too. Put a late clause in your contracts. We just re-updated ours. Put a late clause in your contracts. You have to, because people, unfortunately, I've had full weddings that have been an hour late. It was either because the makeup artist got behind, mom was still cooking in the kitchen at a wedding when we did in Weaverville. Mom was still cooking. She hadn't got her dress. She hadn't got her makeup done. So guys, build that stuff into your contracts. It's very important. And have that discussion at your discovery call. Discovery calls are very important. First of all, if somebody reaches out to me, this is the first thing that I do. I find out, where's the wedding going to be at? Is it a full wedding or is it an elopement? That way, that already wraps my mind around how much I'm going to charge. And then also how much time and energy I need to put in. So you always ask, where are you getting married at? Because then that way, that gives you an idea of how much you're going to charge and what package you're going to send them as far as your contract. How many contracts we got? 5. We have 5 contracts. We have an elopement contract. We have a local wedding contract. We have a semi-local, and then we have a non-local. And then I have a miscellaneous that is just for somebody that just wants their marriage license signed, and you'll get that. They'll say, I don't want an elopement. I just want you to sign off on my marriage license. $75. That's the going price, because the county charges $65 for you to get for the couples to get their license. So why not charge for your signature? Notaries do it all the time. So, but you're not a notary, but you are a licensed officiant. As long as they bring 2 witnesses in North Carolina, you can charge $75 just to sign off on a couple's marriage license.
Okay.
Well, why would somebody do that?
They do it all the time. I've done several. Reese has done
A lot
several.
of people, if they're going out of town, especially. If they're going out of town or out of the country, and say it's a Friday, they're leaving Saturday. Iris, would you mind taking this down for me? They'll ask you to mail it in or take.
No, we're talking about just signing
Oh,
off
just
on
a
the life.
signature?
Yeah, just a
Oh,
signature,
a
yeah.
lot of people-
And it's the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, they're married, but they need that license ASAP, and so they call you. Sign
Did they not have a wedding?
No, you don't have to have a wedding. They may be going over to like a destination wedding. And
But
that's,
you have to be signed in the United States.
it has to be signed. And did you guys hear that? If a couple is going for a destination wedding outside of the country, and
Mhm.
the only thing they want you to do is sign their license with their two witnesses, you can charge for that. That is a legal charge. You can set up a contract for that, which we have that as well. Because what happens is before they leave the United States, they have to be married on paper. They're just wanting to go over to Jamaica or, the Caribbean or France or wherever. They're going to already be married. They just want to go through the big rigmarole of having the wedding there. So it's called a destination wedding. Okay. I get it all the time. They say, hey, I just want you to sign my paperwork because I want to be legal before we go over and we do the big shindig. Because think about it, other than I think it's the Virgin Islands, and there's other countries that fall up under the United States umbrella that technically are recognized as United States territories, or hold on a second, territories or entities. If you guys marry someone outside of the United States entity, they have to have someone in that country to do their ceremony. Does that make sense? But they're legally married in the United States. So because they're coming back to the States, you get it? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Does that make sense? Can I get a nod of a head?
So wait, Katrina, so we would be signing their paperwork to say that they're married, even though we haven't done the official ceremony.
Correct.
So,
Mhm.
but we're saying they're married. We're saying they're married, right?
Yes, because technically it's almost like a notary. A notary can do that. A notary can actually sign a wedding license and the couple get married in another location. It's called a destination wedding. And even though you're not actually performing the ceremony, you can, and it is legitimate. I've gotten a lawyer that has said that there's nothing wrong, and you can Google it as well, but there's nothing wrong with an officiant signing off on a marriage license as long as you got the two witnesses and then getting married in another country because they're coming back to the United States. So does that make sense, Maria?
So if they take, let's say they go to the Bahamas, which is not a U.S. territory, and they're taking their own pastor with them to perform it over there. He or she can't sign it over there.
They're not
We
taking
have to sign it here.
Yeah, they're not even going to take that paperwork with them. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Because what's the reason for them to take that paperwork when they've already been married on U.S. soil?
Gotcha. It's legitimately.
Yeah. And they're coming back to the United States. So technically they just went over there just to do the whole wedding ceremony. But as far as with them legally being married, they have to legally be married before they leave U.S. soil. And if you want to talk to them about, hey, well, you know what, let's just do a little small elopement. But some of them are just like, you know what, we just want our paperwork signed. We're doing a big wedding over in Ireland. I had a couple do that. We just want you to sign our paperwork and then, blah, blah, blah.
And they still have a witness saying.
You have to have the two, if it's in North Carolina, the two witnesses have to be with you when you sign that paperwork.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to be with you. You just can't sign the paperwork without the witnesses being there. Does that make sense? Stephanie, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. When in North Carolina, the paperwork that you get, you have to have the two witnesses with you. Okay.
I can verify that, just being military. Military, they do the same thing. You have people who get married before that person, they don't get married before they
Get deployed or something.
Get deployed or something. but what happens is, say for instance, they do that because they want to make sure that that person is covered if
Mhm.
something happens to them.
Correct.
So they have to do that.
Correct.
And they started that even more so. My son did that actually when, before he, went overseas. And that was not only to protect his wife, but his baby.
Mhm,
So I know that for sure.
Okay. So did y'all get that? So you can sign off on a marriage license in any state, you know, just make sure the witnesses, if they require witnesses, because South Carolina doesn't require witnesses. It's just the couple, the bride and the groom, that you have to sign off on the paperwork. So every state, guys, is different. All their paperwork is totally different, but you know, it's based on state to state.
So
So
I have a question.
yeah, go ahead.
Do they have to be a resident of that state,
What, the witness?
the person getting married? I live in South Carolina. And say for somebody from North Carolina calls me and said they want to elope, do I have to come into North Carolina?
Yes.
That's what I thought. I just want
Yes,
to make sure.
yes. Did y'all hear the question?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes, that is correct. Because like, let's say that a couple calls me and I say, hey, I want you to let's get married at the Roddy Ranch. Well, technically, if they got a North Carolina license, they can't get married at the Roddy Ranch because it's in South Carolina. They would actually have to go get a South Carolina marriage license, marry them on that location, and they still can live in North Carolina. You know, people do it all the time. People get married in different places because family lives in Virginia, but they live in Charlotte, you know, so just think about those things when you get asked about, you know, various ceremonies. Okay. Anybody got any questions before we move on?
I'm sorry, so you said they have to get the license in the state where they are going to be getting married, not where they reside, if they're getting married out of state.
It's actually what I have noticed is the license that they get is where they reside, even though they're getting married in a different county. Now, this is just North Carolina. So South Carolina, their paperwork is the same. It doesn't matter what county they're getting married in South Carolina. The paperwork has to be from where they reside. Does that make sense? That makes sense,
Okay,
Maria?
so yes, where they reside. But when you were giving the example about if they're getting married at the Roddy Ranch,
Yeah,
and they're
because
from Charlotte.
if they're getting married at the Roddy Ranch, because that location is in South Carolina, is in interstate. Does that make sense? They have to get a South Carolina license because at that time they're getting married on South Carolina property. Does that make sense?
Got it.
Got it, yeah. But if they're in North Carolina, regardless of what county they live in Virginia, the same thing. But if they're going cross state, they have to get the license from wherever they're getting married if they're going cross state, interstate. If that makes sense. I hope that didn't confuse anybody. Did I clear that up for everybody? Okay, so if you're going cross state, yes, whatever state you're getting married in, you definitely will have to get the license out of that state. Okay, all right. So guys, let's talk about how you're going to set up your client management system. Even if you are just doing elopements, and the only reason why Reese doesn't do this, because I do this because we're in the same household, but you always want to have some type of way that you can collect information from your clients. So whether you do that via email, whether you do that through your website, I want you guys to start looking at some different ways that you can start collecting your client information. Because, you know, even if they found you on Facebook, I've got couples that have got married, they got babies, they always tag me, oh, Miss Katrina, look, we just had a baby, blah, 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 blah. So, but you want to go back and sometimes, you know, reach out to, you know, the couples that you've married. Now, if you don't want to, that's cool. You know, if you don't want to do that, but to me, I think a good officiant should always make their couples feel like, you're part of the family and that you care about, their marriage, because that's what you're doing. You are providing not only a service, but you're also wanting their marriage to be successful as well. So start thinking about ways how you can reach out to your clients and how you want to store that information, their history and who they are and where you even married them at, all that good stuff. It does pay off in the end. And the other thing about that too, they may have somebody that they may want you to marry them that's a cousin or somebody, and they say, you know what, I can't remember, blah, 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 blah. And then they reach out to you and you've got their information, then you can have them to, send your family or friend, your information. So think about that. All right. How you want to market yourself? Does anybody right now currently that's doing weddings, how do you market yourself, or how would you like to see yourself marketed? Reese, what about you? How do you currently feel like you market yourself?
Actually, so far I've been fortunate, and I've been reviewed very well with 95% of my weddings. All of the people that I've married, they've been extremely satisfied and happy. The way I represented them, they in turn represent me. And so that's my marketing as of right now.
Okay. Anybody else? Iris, what about you? Because I know you're getting started. How would you like to market yourself? Would you like to be word of mouth? Would you like to be more visible on social media? How would you like referrals?
Referrals. Not so much on social media. I don't mind social media, but I think more of referrals or, say for instance, if someone calls and say, like Maria or Vanessa say, hey, Iris, I can't do this. I've got somebody who needs something like right now, or Monday, I'll be out of town. Can you do Monday? Can you do Saturday? That type of thing. And then, that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good way. And if some of you know, that's kind of how me and my husband kind of started off at first. When I would get wedding referrals and I couldn't do them, I would just pass them on to him. But now he's blowing up and he's on, Google, and people are calling him, and so start thinking about that. How do you want to market yourself? Do you want people to, hey, I'm busy. Can you do this wedding for me? I do a lot. Angela's my go-to person, locally here. If I'm booked or if Reese is booked, I'll send Angela Hope, my weddings, And again, one of the biggest things, I get people all over the country. If I know somebody's getting married in Fayetteville, I could send them to Vanessa. Or if I know somebody's getting married in Winston-Salem or Greensboro, I can send them to Victoria. Or if somebody's getting married at Maryland and, DC area and I'm not available, Maria, she's available. And Stephanie, where are you at? Are you in Greensboro?
I am in Greensboro.
Okay. And Victoria, you're in Greensboro as well. So you guys can tag team, because it's always good to have another officiant, like Iris was saying, in the area that if they're busy, you can send them some business, Hey, Rico, how are you doing? I want you guys to say hey to Rico. This is actually one of my coworkers, and him and his wife, they actually are looking at going into the wedding business.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? I'm sorry. I've been on the entire time.
I think your
Oh my God.
feedback. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah. Yeah.
I've been having problems trying to connect. I've been listening via phone and the whole while attempting to try to get on via Zoom, and I was just successful. So thank you. And it's been very fruitful what I've been hearing. And so please continue.
Well, good. Glad to see you.
I'm sorry I missed the introduction part. I wanted to be part of that, but maybe at the end.
Okay,
once
no
you
problem.
finish. All right.
problem.
Thank you so much.
And we're recording this.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. All right, so the next thing. Oh, you can put me on mute.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, it might be. Okay, so the next thing we are gonna go over, guys, is the mock ceremony. So before we move forward, so we touch base on building an online brand. Anybody have any questions about online branding? Okay, we talked about streamlining your prices and packages. And let me tell you another thing that will be good as far as your packaging, your pricing. I know Rico and his wife also do marriage counseling. I do counseling as well. Excuse me. Give me some water, I'm getting hot. I do counseling and coaching as well. So think about putting that in your packaging as well. Victoria, I know you also are a life coach, so that's also an option to do packaging for that as well. So think about all of the other gifts and talents that you guys have and incorporate those in your business, okay? Incorporate those in your business. If you are like Victoria and you do floral arrangements, include that in your business. If you are wanting to do planning, thank you, include that in your business. I'm a wedding planner as well. I have packages for that. I'm a day of coordinator. I have packages for that. So wherever you can reach out or branch out your gifts and talents, use them. There's money in that for that. And I'm telling you, the only reason why that I was able to now branch out the way I did was when COVID hit, we couldn't do weddings anymore. So I actually got more couples that wanted to do premarital, counseling and coaching. So that kind of was my bread and butter at that time. Venues were closing up, people weren't getting married. Elopements picked up because people were like, we still want to get married, but we can't have 200 people coming to the wedding. So now we just want to go and get married at the lake or whatever. So just think about, always have some type of alternative service that you can offer your clients. Okay. All right. My husband disappeared. Oh, he went to get me some water. So we're going to set up for our mock ceremony. So before we do that, I want to say a couple of things. If you're doing this full-time or you really want to do it full-time, go ahead and get yourself registered and licensed and ordained if you haven't already. So do that. Make that your number one thing to do. I know a lot of you have already done that, but if you have not, I can send you the link to AMM if you want to go ahead and get licensed and ordained. That way you can get your ordination license and your letter of good standing. The next thing is, if you're going to do this part-time, that's great. But if you want to do this as a business, decide what type of business entity you want to be. Do you want to be a sole proprietor? Do you want to be a LLC? How do you want to do this? If you are really serious about taking this to the next level, decide what type of business entity you want to be. Victoria, I know for you, you've got a lot like I do. So I married all of my stuff under my business entity as a LLC. So that's what you do. Look at your gifts and talents. And then if you've got some other stuff, marry them all together, but decide what type of business entity you want to be. If you want to talk to someone additional about that, if you guys will go back and look at the video from the conference that we did last year, where we had my brother Ray, he talked about business entity setups. We also have a tax person on there, Pastor Curry. If you are confused about how you need to file your taxes as a business owner at the end of the year, he is the man to talk to. I'm telling you, his name is Pastor Brian Curry. If you need his information, I'll send that to you. So always think about taxes. How am I going to file my taxes at the end of the year? That's very, very important, guys. Thank you, babe. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the mock ceremony. So I'm going to take my background off. And guys, I will probably do it from up here since the camera is here. We're gonna do it from up here. Okay.
You can't reverse your camera.
Let me see if I can reverse it. Can you reverse your camera on the iPad?
Open your page. Open it up. Not sharing your package. Stop sharing this. That's why you can't do it.
There it is. Okay.
And then give you.
Full screen.
Then yeah, you should be able to
We can just do it from here.
see a video. Go to your video.
Yeah, we'll
Video
just,
settings.
okay.
Then
Okay. All right, guys, we'll just do it from here. Is this it right here? Wait a minute. That's rotation. No, that's rotation.
yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, we'll just do it from here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my
Just have to-
background. All right, so I'm going to take my background screen off. Reese, you have your ceremony book with you? Okay, so does anybody have any questions about, okay, Miss Katrina, so I've gotten this wedding. And now I want to know, what do I do next? So you guys, while they're setting up, you guys just kind of think about some questions that you want to ask me. I know, Ness, I saw you in action, so you look pretty comfortable. So, but were there any questions that where you were standing up there, you wish you had had a little bit more, information on?
No, I guess not so much for you. Just I know in the thing, usually like when you're performing a wedding, there are like rehearsals and stuff so you can go over. But there wasn't really like a rehearsal. It was kind of like a whim thing. But I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, okay.
I do have a question though about
Okay.
the difference between like performing an elopement and the difference between performing a marriage.
Yeah, and we'll go through that. We'll definitely go through that. So you said you want to know if there's a difference between, an elopement and a full wedding. And you hit it right on the head, guys. When you're doing a full wedding, you definitely are going to have rehearsal. And then you may not. But if you don't have a rehearsal, my prayer is that most weddings will have or couples will have a wedding planner or a wedding day of coordinator. So that is the person pretty much that will make sure that, the ceremony starts on time. You guys know who comes in first, who comes in second, who comes in third, all of that good stuff like that. So anybody else? I think I saw something in the chat. What was that question that was in the chat? Okay.
That was my question and somebody else's.
Okay, so let's see. She said Maryland doesn't require witnesses either. What is the purpose of signing off? When you mean what is the purpose of signing off? What do you mean signing off, Maria?
You answered that question, but I put
Okay.
another question in there. The question is about when you're asking questions that we should ask. What are the questions that we should ask when we are having that initial conversation with them about their wedding?
Gotcha. I do have a discovery call sheet that I made up for Reese. And what it is, like when you first get that first lead and then you get a phone call and you guys do a 15-minute phone call. I always have specific questions. Like I said, where's the wedding going to take place? This, da. So I'll send you a sample of my discovery call or consultation form that I usually talk to my couples with and about, to glean as much information as I can, and then move forward to letting them know, hey, I'll send you my contract, you look that over, this, that, and the other, and then, you move forward from there. Okay, does that make sense? Does that make sense, Maria? Okay, she put a thumbs up. Okay, all right, so first of all, okay, so what we're gonna do is, oh my God, you calm down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Reese to stand right here. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Okay.
I'm gonna have Reese to stand here. Okay. Can you guys see him? Okay, so
Yeah, we can
I
see him.
wanted to be far off because Iris is gonna be up here as well, okay?
Yes, I can see him.
All right, so Iris, I want you,
Okay, so guys, you are gonna have times when you're gonna have, and we'll talk about this way later, but right now it's just gonna be me and Iris, okay? You're gonna have couples that are gonna be heterosexual, you're gonna have same-sex couples. That will be your preference if you decide to do those types of weddings, okay? That is up to you. That's your personal preference, that's your religious stance, whatever that is. But today, we're doing a mock of Iris and myself, and she can be the man and I can be the.
I'm the girl.
That's all right. So anyway.
I'm just joking.
Okay. So we're gonna have Reese stand right here. He's gonna be our officiant, and Iris and I. So one of the things that I like to do, and Reese can kind of chime in on that. So if you're doing an elopement, we're gonna do an elopement first, because is that the ceremony? So this is how an elopement ceremony normally takes place. Okay, so usually the couple, you know, you've already had your call, they've already made a decision, we want to get eloped. And so they meet you at wherever they're gonna meet you at. So then once they get here, then your officiant is in charge. You will be in charge of that. Now, your elopement script, let me just say this. I know we can get kind of windy, we can get kind of talkative, but your elopement script should not be any longer than 10 to 15 minutes. Write that down. 10 to 15 minutes. It should include just a small welcome, because you're only going to have you and the bride and groom and the officiant, and they may have a few witnesses. Hold on, okay, I got you. But make sure it's no longer than 15 minutes, because when you go into over 15 minutes, guys, you're going into a full wedding ceremony, which starts with your welcome, starts with your vows, starts with your ring, if there's a ring, and then you're supposed to end it, okay? Those are the three elements of a script. You should have a welcome. You should have the vows as short as they can be, or as long as they can be, depending on what type of wedding it is. And then you should always have your ring. Now, the other stuff like sand ceremony, all of that, we'll talk about that later, okay? All right, so we're doing an elopement. Okay, so Mr. Reese, officiant Reese has he wanted to share.
Let me say this in reference to elopements. The time frame and what my wife just gave y'all, that's true. That's the laid out format. Me personally, I don't necessarily always follow that format. Okay. If I'm marrying a couple, a lot of elopements, for some reason, they're young people. Okay. If I'm marrying a couple in Freedom Park, in our front yard, or wherever, if I get a visual that maybe things aren't what they seem, or if in my spirit I feel like I need to add something, I need to say something and talk to these young people for encouragement or whatever, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to talk for 45 minutes, but the 15-minute thing, I don't necessarily follow that. If you need to hear something, I'm going to say it. And this way, when I leave, I'll feel comfortable. I'll feel like I may have told these young people something. I gave them some glue that might hold them together for a little longer than 6-7 months. Okay. All right. So let's get married.
Everybody's on mute, but they had questions. Yeah, because he's going through the mock. Okay. And we'll do the questions after.
Okay. So this is an elopement. This is how I do it. How y'all doing? Y'all looking real good today.
Thank you.
You're a beautiful couple. And, obviously, you're in love. Ready to get married? Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Well, you both come here today for one of the greatest moments in life. This is a lifetime decision that you're about to make. You're here to recognize the strength and beauty of love and to come together with these words to unite in holy matrimony. Okay. Katrina, do you take Iris to be your wife, your partner?
So when you're doing same, you always say partner. If it's male and female, then of course you know him and her, okay?
Okay. Katrina, do you take Iris to be your partner? To love and protect her? To respect her? Abandoning yourself from all others and dedicating yourself only to her? If you do, say I do. Okay. Iris, you take Katrina to be your partner. To love and respect her and to protect her. Abandoning all others and dedicating yourself only to her for the rest of your life.
I do.
These wedding rings we have are a visual symbol of spirituality and grace.
Okay, so pause right there. So when you get to the wedding ring portion, always right before the ceremony, ask the couple if there's rings, if they're going to be exchanging rings. If they will be exchanging rings, always make sure that you have their rings at the time before the ceremony is announced. So we're going to give him the rings. Okay.
All right. Okay. These wedding rings here are a visible symbol of spirituality and grace, signifying for all the union of these beautiful people here today. I've been talking to the audience. Katrina, take this ring, please. Iris, take this ring, please. Katrina, please repeat after me as you place this ring on your partner's hand. Iris, hold on to your left hand, please. I give you this ring as a symbol of my love and faithfulness to you.
I give you this ring as a symbol of my love and faithfulness to you.
Iris, do the same, please. Repeat after me. Katrina, would you hold your left hand up? Okay. I give you this ring as a symbol of my love and faithfulness to you.
I give you this ring as a sign of my
Love.
love and faithfulness to you.
Yes. All right. Now that you both have decided to be united in holy matrimony, you've promised your love in front of myself and all these beautiful witnesses. You've exchanged rings. Now hold hands, please. Now joining your hands, I declare you husband and wife. And this bond, partner, this bond that God has formed today can be broken by no one. And now, by the power vested in me and the Constitution and laws of this state, it is my pleasure and my honor to now declare you married. Congratulations. You may seal your marriage with a kiss.
All right. All right. So anybody have any questions? Who is that laughing, Pam? All right.
And that's
So,
how it goes.
so Iris, I want you to come back up, and I want you guys to be the couple this time.
All right.
Okay? I want to show you guys a few things. Okay. So turn around and face each other.
You asked them to have questions, but I still haven't moved me.
Oh, no, they can come off of mute themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, guys, can y'all see me? Okay. So when you're up here and you are, when you're up here and you're holding your ceremony book, I'll get the questions out.
Okay.
Yeah, take that off for just a second. Okay, so guys, when you're up here and you're holding your ceremony book, you did see how Reese was holding this book. Always make sure that your book is held down. If you have a book, if you don't, if you're memorizing something, you know, because you know the couple personally or whatever, then always make sure that your book is comfortable here. Always make sure if you've got pages to turn, your pages are comfortable. Always look down if you need to and look up. Because you got to remember, you're going to be in front of an audience, whether it's an elopement or whether it's a full wedding. Photographers are going to be taking pictures, so you don't always want to have your head down, okay? You always want to be up, looking, you know, interacting with your couple, looking at them, making sure that they're comfortable. One other thing that I always do is when my couple get up here, and I think I put this on the session, if they're nervous, And you can look and gauge and see when your couple's nervous. What I do is, and I'm not sure if some of you do this, always have them to hold hands. Because once your bride gets up here, she's gonna pass her bouquet on to her maid of honor or matron of honor. Always gauge their facial expressions. I've had brides to be up here and they've been so nervous, they were literally shaking. So you always want to ask the groom, take your bride's hand, make her feel comfortable. And then I always tell them, take a deep breath. Once she's made it up here, once dad or whoever's giving her away, now that you are in my aura, you are mine. I want you to be as comfortable as you can be. And I can gauge that by looking at both of them. You know, when I'm having to repeat words, you guys can.
Okay.
So when you're repeating your words, always make sure your words are clear for them to hear. Just like when you say, I give you this ring, and then he'll say, or she'll say, I give you this ring as a symbol of my love, and faithfulness to you. So if you're doing a script where they're repeating after each other, always make sure you give them just enough words that they can feed each other. You know, you can feed them and then they can repeat those words. You have a lot of couples that decide that they want to do their own vows. That's fine. But your ceremony should first of all be a welcome. You should have some type of vows in there, whether they're saying their own vows to themselves and they've got their own vow book, or whether you're feeding them their words, okay? If you make a mistake during the ceremony, which I've done this 1,000 times, if the ring falls, let's say, Reese, come up. Okay, so let's say we're up here and he's here and all of a sudden I hand you the ring and you drop it. Okay, drop the ring. Okay, if that happens, just step back and let the best man come get the ring. You don't go down and try to get the ring for them, whether she's dropped it or he's dropped it. Thank you, babe. You let the best man or somebody else get the ring, but you do never leave your position. You know, I've had that happen before, and maybe the groom may reach down and pick it up if that happens, but you never leave your position. Okay. That's always the best practice. Never leave your position. Let's say if you've gotten nervous and you've gotten out of order of the ceremony, never let them see you sweat. If you have gone to the ring first and you're supposed to do the vows first, you can always just navigate back around, but never, never let them say, oh my God, okay, hold up. Never do that. Always be cool, calm, and composed, even when you've made a mistake. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, any questions?
No questions.
Yes.
Hi, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
And Curly has alluded to something that kind of made me wonder. What if you let's say you're doing an elopement and you feel like something is not right, something's out of order. You haven't done the counseling, anything like that. They came to get married, but you're like, something just ain't right. What do you do?
And you know what, Rico and I actually had a conversation about this yesterday the other day, because we were talking about counseling. What if you're counseling a couple and something just doesn't feel quite right? And you've worked with them during that time and, you just see that there's still some issues between whether it's her or him. I've had couples that during the counseling session realize that, we don't need to be married. We need to back off. We need to just put everything on hold, and that's fine. But when you're doing an elopement and if that happens, that does give you the opportunity to afterwards, now you may not feel it when they first get up there, and that's true. You may not feel it until you start within the ceremony. I would always say, go with your gut. Go with the anointing that's on you. And if you really feel like, you know what, I'm not really comfortable with this. Can we just kind of talk with each other and kind of find out what's going on, with you guys? But let me tell you this should always be done at your discovery call, Maria. And you can always kind of, if you want to do Zoom discovery calls, even if you just want to do that's what your main thing is, just to do elopements, you just want to marry people and you want to, they want to be gone, you have to make that decision. You know what I'm saying? Reese said he wanted to make a comment, but that's your time to minister to that couple, whether it's an elopement or a full wedding. This is your opportunity to talk to them, but definitely on a discovery call, that should be something that you definitely should be able to sense and pull out, why are you getting married? I always ask the story, tell me your background, why are you guys wanting to get married? So I don't miss that part. And I want you guys to understand that that's very important, that you talk to them at that discovery call and you can kind of get a sense. And sometimes they can get away with it. They can snow you, but you know what? That's not, let me say this. Once you've married them and you've prayed or whatever you needed to do, it's their responsibility to make that marriage work. It's not yours, because at this point you've done a service and you've done what you have been called to do. So don't take on the responsibility to think that if the marriage fails, it was your fault. That is not the case. After you've done the service, after you've performed what you needed to do, it's their responsibility as a couple to make that marriage work. And if they need premarital or postmarital counseling or whatever, then definitely suggest that. So Maria, does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, because I was thinking, like, what if you feel like almost like if they're being coerced or like this is forced or something. I know that once they're married, it's not judging, it's not its point of judging if these folks should be married in the sense of from another perspective. It's whether you feel like something may be legitimately illegal, wrong, something there. That's more what I was thinking of. Not because you're right. No, it is a point of, after the counseling and all that stuff that they need to do afterward. We're not making a judgment call in that regard. But if we feel that something is out of order, something is seriously out of order, what do we do?
Correct. Reese, did you have a question?
Yeah,
Did you have
what's this lady's name?
No, she was just asking the question about if an elopement, Maria.
Oh, hi, Maria.
Hey there.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Like my wife said, which is true, if a wedding, there's some things you're not going to have power over. There's a lot of things you're not going to have power over as the officiant. If a wedding was forced, like if somebody's daddy said, you're going to marry my daughter and that's it, and here's this, I'm waiting on you if you don't, well, okay, you can't control that. But once you have these people in front of you, if something tells you as an experienced adult with life and so forth, if something tells you something ain't right, I don't know, it could be money problems, it could be he could have cheated, she could have cheated, it could be anything. But if you feel like something might not be clicking, me personally, I reiterate what's happening at that moment. I'll tell the couple, I'll say something like, listen, Maria, I'll say something like, listen, what you're saying, these words that you're saying to each other today, these promises that you're making, you're telling each other here in front of everybody, God and everybody here, that you're in love and you want to be together for life. I just kind of reiterate that. I said, this is going to be something that you're going to need down the road. Okay. And I'll tell young couples, I can almost guarantee you that your life's not going to go perfect. You're going to be mad at each other at some point for whatever reason. Anything can happen in life. But what you need to remember is why you're here today, because you love each other and you want to be together for life. Love can carry you a long way. That's what I tell people. It can carry you a long way, and you can overcome almost any obstacle if you really love each other and you want to be together. And they got to take that from there. If they take that and run with it, when a problem arises down the road, they'll say, "Hey, you know what? The minister was right. You know, we're gonna work this out. You just gonna put a little more strength into it." And that's all you could do, really. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So you see why I got a strong man behind me, y'all.
You know, Reese is always the bomb.
Who's that? Somebody know me? Who's that?
He said, who said
Who's
that?
that? Who knows me?
Hi.
Go ahead. All right. So what time we got? Are we on schedule? All right, we got a few more minutes. Okay, so now we're gonna do Q&A. Okay. Anybody got any questions? Let me see. Let me go back to the chat.
I have more questions.
Yeah, okay, so let me go to chat to make sure we've hit everything. Okay, so you said Maryland doesn't require witnesses either. Okay, great. What are some questions we should ask in the discovery? Okay, so what I'll do is everybody that is actually on this meeting today, I'll if I don't have your email address, make sure that I get it. I'll send you guys over a copy or sample of the discovery call sheet that I do. I know Victoria, she has a specific one because she does coaching. I know Pam, you may have one, not sure, but if you've got one and you want me to kind of look it over and give you some, you know, help, or if it looks like it's great, then send it over to me. But if you don't have one, I definitely will send one over to you and let you look at the sample one that I use, okay? All right, so
So
Maria,
Katrina, this is Stephanie. I have a question.
yeah.
Okay, so when your husband was going over the ceremony, was that a script that he made up, or was that one that was already put together?
That's actually my script that we both use. That's an elopement
Okay.
script, but and that's another thing, you guys, as you do this more, you'll begin to know where you can ad lib, where you can add stuff in. That's why I was saying, if you're just doing an elopement, try not to make it over 15 minutes if you can, because then you're moving into full wedding territory at that point. But yeah, during those times, and I think I've sent scripts to various ones of you. All of my scripts are different. I have traditional scripts. I have non-traditional scripts. I have non-religious scripts because I do have couples that they're not religious, but they're spiritual, they say. But I do have words of inspiration in there that talks about, it may not have God in there, but you do have couples that just don't want to have the full, you know, traditional ceremony. So I have different types of scripts for different types of ceremonies. I just don't do any type of satanic rituals. I don't do any cutting off of heads. I don't do bleeding. I don't do burnt offerings. I don't do none of that kind of stuff. So, but if you want to see some of my scripts, I'll definitely pass along some of my scripts to you. But all of your scripts can be changed. And that's what I tell my couples. We get together on a discovery call, and then you tell me your story, how you met, you know, when did you propose? What made you decide to marry, you know, ask her to marry you? Him to marry you, you know, so you'll get all that during your discovery call time, and then you can build that into your ceremony to make it more personal. And you know, that's how my ceremonies are. I fit my ceremonies to my couple. My scripts are just a sample. All of them can be doctored up and and edited, you know, to fit in.
Okay.
Okay. All right, what was the other question?
Stephanie, I put it, excuse me, Katrina, I put it in the chat. So have you ever had the incident where during the marriage ceremony, the couple decide, some bride or groom decide, hey, we're here at the church, but we're not gonna do it? And if so, how do you address it to the crowd?
I have not had that yet, but I have had during counseling sessions, later on near the end of their session, that they made a decision that they were going to, you know, postpone the wedding. But no, I've never had anybody, you know, to say, we've decided that we don't want to get married, you know. But if that ever happens, I guess you just use your judgment, you just kind of follow through and just say, hey, if what do you, at this point, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to announce, they may run off and then they may have somebody come back and say, at this time we've decided that, they decided they don't want to get married at this time. Then you make that announcement. Also during ceremonies, at the end, especially if you're doing a full ceremony, once your couple has left, and everybody has walked down the aisle, you as the officiant should always be the last person before you leave the altar. And the reason why that is because if the day of coordinator wants you to make the announcement that, everybody's being dismissed to the cocktail hour, that's part of your job. Another part of your job is if you're doing a full wedding and the wedding is unplugged, people were like, well, what's unplugged? Unplugged means that the couple has decided they don't want no pictures taken, they don't want no video taken. So that means as an officiant, once you get up there, after you've positioned yourself, you make the announcement that at this time, the couple has asked that you silence all electronic devices, no videos, no cameras. They've paid for this day. And so they just want you to be engaged with them. They don't, so you have to use your judgment when it comes to making those type of announcements. I've had brides that don't want people to stand when they come in, and that's fine. Those are questions that you ask during your discovery call. So again, all of that stuff is included in the discovery call, and you can, make those judgment calls with the bride and groom, during that time. Anybody else got any other questions?
Katrina, you mentioned CRM and ways to collect and store client info. What are some of the CRM tools that are out there for us to use?
I actually use the one that's a part of my website, which is Wix. Wix has its own version where if a couple comes onto my website and they decided that they want to get further information, what my website does, it captures that information automatically. It captures their email because, of course, it gives access them that information. So there's various ones out there. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I can send you some of the ones that that are really popular. A lot of people use Honeywell. There's another one because Honeywell not only has has a CMS system, it also does contracts. It also can help you accept payments. So Honeywell is a good one. Victoria, can you think of any right offhand that you might know?
I agree with your website. Your website usually has it embedded in it. If you just go through your settings, you can find it there. Honeywell is good. Some people use MailChimp to pull it. I've used MailChimp on other programs, I guess you could say, and it works pretty good. You just have to keep, you have to maintain it yourself and kind of follow up through it. But that's what I use is my website to pull my emails. But if you do a blast, a post about your business, you can have a Bitly link embedded within that to do it as well. But it's basically within your website or either a MailChimp type thing. Honeywell is the best stuff, I think.
Yeah, Honeywell is really good. And also, if you want to, I saw your question, Rico. If you want to, as far as time management, if you just don't want people to call you any kind of times of the day and night, set up your hours, and I'll show you how to set up your hours on your Google Business. You can set up your hours, you can tell them that, I'm open between this and this time. And then that way people can make sure they respect your time, because I promise you, brides can be very demanding. I've only had one bridezilla in my entire career, and I thought I was going to pull my hair out, but praise God that we finally came to an understanding. You're just not going to text me all times of the night. You're not going to call me all times of the night. These are my business hours. So I want you guys to definitely remember, you have business hours. You have a life outside of this business, and people have to learn to respect those boundaries. Rico, you were saying, what methods of marketing do you use?
Katrina, I'm
Yes.
sorry. If if anyone has like their own scheduler, like I use Calendly. I
Yeah.
use that. That also, gets your mailing list too, if you have it set up that way. So whatever
Yeah.
kind of scheduling tool you use, that's another way of getting, your list together as well.
Yes, Calendly is good. And there was one more that I used to use years ago. I can't remember, but I'm going to tell you a little tidbit about Calendly. Calendly. Do you guys know that that was founded by a Black guy? I didn't find that out until I was in my recent Cornell class, that Calendly was actually invented by a Black guy. So do your research on that. But yeah, they're good. As far as marketing, Rico, I kind of use all my social media platforms. When I first started, I was doing Wedding Wire, Wedding Pro, and The Knot. I want to tell you right now, if you're going to use any of those entities, back then when I was using them, they were free. Now you have to pay. So that's why I really push Google Business Profile, because that you don't have to pay for it. Now, if you want to do ads, Google ads, you can pay for that. But I really suggest word of mouth, your Google business page, use your social media. You've got social media out there. Start developing you some flyers. I use Canva. That's how I develop all my flyers. If I want a really, really nice one, I'll professionally pay for it, but use Canva. So go out there and invest in yourself and use Canva. They have a free version and they have a paid version. I use the paid version because I like all of the nuances that it has in it that you could use. So those are my marketing strategies.
That last one, did you say Canva?
Canva, C-A-N-V-A.
Okay. Thank you so much, man.
You're welcome. And let's see, somebody said, Rico, can you go?
Absolutely.
Perfect, thank you. How do you collect payment? Good question. So there are different payment options. You can use Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, PayPal, or cash. I have that in my contracts. So whatever type of method you feel comfortable, I do want to tell you, if you do Cash App or Zelle or Venmo, now I know Zelle, it goes straight into your banking account, but if you use the other ones, they will charge a fee. But they also, at the end of the year, you can actually pull a statement, and for your tax purposes, you can actually print that statement off, take it to your tax person, and then that way you can see just how much money you made throughout the year. So I do use those. I also require a deposit. I didn't at first. That's another thing that's very important, guys. Even if you're doing an elopement, if it's the same day, then of course they're going to pay you same day. But if it's an elopement or a wedding, I highly recommend deposit. Please do deposit, because one thing is, if you do a deposit, that means that they're serious about hiring you.
So you do half? Do you do half?
Yes, I do half, yes. Half at the time of signing off on the contract. So the contract and the deposit, I get both of those at the same time. Or I try to, yeah. So contract and deposit, I get at the same time. And then once the deposit is made, then you can move forward. I don't send out my ceremonies until I get a deposit. Because in the past, I've sent them everything. Oh, here's the ceremonies, blah, 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 blah. And then they decide that they don't want to use you. Well, you've taken my ceremonies and you're going to use my ceremonies in your wedding and let somebody else take them. So always don't send out any ceremonies unless you personally know them. But this is just my best practice. Don't send out any ceremonies until you guys get the deposit, or some form of deposit. And then what I do is, I used to require the balance to be paid the day of. Now I require the balance to be paid the week of, because they get married, then they forget. You know, the ceremony's going on, the wedding's going on, they're taking pictures, and you know, there's so much moving parts the day of. Now I require it the week of, before, you know. And definitely before you sign that marriage license.
Katrina, so with that, with the elopements and the contract, are you sending them, if they call and they say, okay, we'll be over 15 minutes, half hour, are you still sending them the an electronic contract, or are all of your contracts, paper contracts in person that they sign?
No, all of my contracts are electronic, but if it's a same day elopement, I do send them a copy of it. I say, hey, can I have your email address? I want you to look it over, and I'll send it over to them and let them look it over. And then I'll print it off, and the day of, I'll have them to sign off on it. That way I need to have it for tax purposes, you know. But that's different. Everybody does theirs different. Reese doesn't do that, but that's what I do. Usually if a couple wants me to do same day, I'll send them over a copy of what my contract looks like, so they'll know, so there won't be any, you know, questions. And I saw somebody said, do you sign the license before the ceremony, after? You have to sign the license after the ceremony, because that means that you've actually done, this is for a full wedding and even for an elopement. Hold on, guys. They can hear you because my mic is on. So when you sign off on the ceremony, just make sure that you're signing off after the ceremony is done. Because technically you haven't performed the ceremony, other than if you're just signing the license. But if you're actually doing a ceremony, whether it's an elopement or not, you can't sign it beforehand. You know, you want to make sure all of that stays, what's the word I'm looking for? It's the word I was looking for, but you just want to make sure that all that is congruent, or it's a C word. But anyway, you just do it all at one time. You sign, the two witnesses sign, and if you're in South Carolina, whatever states it doesn't require witnesses, you just sign it with the couple. Okay.
Okay.
Rico, no, my deposit is non-refundable. The only thing that's refundable, if in my contracts, and it will tell you, if I get in an accident, or if I get sick, or if something happens, I get COVID. If I do get sick or something happens, I will find a replacement officiant for them. A lot of officiants don't do that. They'll just, I've had couples that say, my officiant bailed on me and I found you on the internet. My integrity is that if something happens to me and I can't fulfill my obligation, I will find someone, and I've done it in the past. I'll find someone to fulfill that obligation for you. I've had to refund some monies before, because, you know, in my heart, you know, that's just the way the Lord said, you know, you need to refund this couple this money, because, you know, either something happened, they got sick, or the wedding got canceled, or they just hit hard times. But you use your judgment, okay? You can't, I'm asking you to use your judgment. Don't follow my judgment. Use where God convicts you at. So you use your own, but my deposits are non-refundable. Okay.
Katrina, have you ever? Oh, I'm sorry. Katrina, have you ever had it where they start out being, they were going to have a ceremony, and then at the last minute, for whatever reason, they had to switch it to elopement?
I've never had that before. I've had where it started off as an elopement.
Okay.
And it ended up being a ceremony, but it was a ceremony not at a venue, but they decided to have it at their home, and they wanted to invite people. So what I ended up doing was I kind of talked to them. I said, guys, look, you know, this is going to be more than, you know, just me, you, and your two witnesses. And this is my fee for a wedding, because at that point, she's coming down the aisle, he's coming down the aisle, I'm standing in front of people. So to me, that's considered a wedding. It's a micro wedding, but it's
Right.
still a wedding altogether. So then I talk to them and tell them, you know, if they can't afford it, I'll go ahead and just charge them my elopement fee. And if they can afford it, then I'll charge them my regular fee.
Okay. Thank you.
But I've never had the only way I've had the other one to happen was during COVID. They had booked a big venue and they just either just canceled the wedding, or they just changed the dates. So. Any other questions?
Yes, Katrina, I have two. Where did you get your contracts from? That's the first one.
I got my contracts from Rocket Lawyer. Because Rocket Lawyer is a good place if you want to get your contracts. And then what you have to do is you have to doctor them up to make them specific to your business. But Rocket Lawyer is who I used. And then I had my cousin that's a lawyer to look them over to make sure that I covered all of my bases. So all of my contracts are airtight. And
And
another
my next, go ahead.
No,
No, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, and the other thing is too, if you're doing more than just officiating and you want to do day of coordination or you want to do planning, think about getting licensed. What I mean is make sure you're covered under general liability insurance. I mean, I have general liability for myself and my husband. We're covered under $1 million. So think about also getting yourself insured. Your business insured. Go ahead, Maria.
That was one I didn't think of, but I've heard of that, of course, as a wedding planner, but I hadn't thought about that for this part of the business. But so you have business insurance for this. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why I did was because I work a lot with a venue here in Charlotte, and they do a lot of high-end weddings. And so the company, it's called the Crystal Ballroom, if anybody ever heard of them. And the Crystal Ballroom requires you as a vendor, whether you're an officiant, whatever you do, that you have to have a general liability insurance.
Okay. And so if you don't have an LLC, can you still get the insurance?
I think you have to be a business entity to have the insurance. Yes, ma'am.
But we do need to know that because there may be venues that we have to work at that are going to have the same ruling. Okay.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So that's why I
Okay.
threw that out there. Definitely make sure that if you decide to set yourself up as a business, make sure you decide what entity you want to be. Because when you get in the insurance, you have to have that information.
Got it. The only other question that I had, and this is more personal than anything, is how you did touch on it during the performing of the ceremony about performing same-sex weddings. If you don't want to do that, how do you avoid that without getting sued?
You can definitely do that without getting sued. Just tell them that this is your personal preference, and that you in your heart feel like there's something that you can't do. But I know someone, because I used to refer people to a wedding officiant in Virginia before, you know, I started doing them, and she would do them all the time. So if you're not comfortable, they respect that. They won't sue you. And then recently I talked to a New York, that judge, remember?
Yeah.
We talked to at a wedding that I did up in Raleigh. No, it was in Winston-Salem. We talked to a New York judge, and he says, by law, as an officiant, even being a minister, by law, because that's a business, you are technically a business, you can't turn business away. But if you have a personal conviction that that's something that you don't want to do, then you have the right, that is your right to do that. And you can do it with just the amount of grace that you can, and people will understand, because I've never had anyone to say, well, you turned me down because, my girlfriend and I wanted to get married and you didn't want to marry us. Are you prejudiced, or do you have, something to get? I've never had that happen to me before. So if you do that with a level of grace, I think that people will respect that, and you tell them what your religious convictions are, and they'll respect that, you know. I know that the lady won the Supreme Court decision about it was a website or something that a gay couple wanted to do, and she didn't want to do it, and she ended up winning that decision. And again, you know, you have to make sure this is your personal conviction, you know. I did definitely talk to my pastor when, you know, the idea was approached to me at the time. And from what, you know, I was told that, you know, and this was just for me, guys, you know, at first I didn't do it, but I've done 3. And what I was told and what he told me and shared with me was, you know, Katrina, you're a business, you know, once, you know, for sure. We all know that you are a believer and you're a Christian, and, you know, you may not believe in same-sex marriages, but some of us have, you know, gay people in our family, you know, but we still have to love them and care for them and nurture them and love them. You know, I may not like the lifestyle that you have, but I can't be the judge of that. I'm not the judge and jury. I just have to go with my own personal convictions. But I've done, you know, several, you know, and they are a beautiful moment. You know, it's just, you have to make that decision. I never make that decision for anybody. That has to be my own personal conviction. Anybody else got any questions?
I don't have a question necessarily, Katrina, but I do like the way all of you know, just listen to everybody's different niches, if you will, that, you know, we all can form a resource system where we can, like you said earlier, you know, if I don't do something or if I'm busy, we can share it with somebody else that does. And I think that's a great way of not only, you know, gaining other business, but it's also a good way to collaborate with our peers in the business.
That's so true.
I'm laughing with Stephanie because I'm thinking, you know, we were here in Greensboro together, and I can say, hey, Stephanie, I'm not doing weddings on Saturday. Can you do weddings on Saturday? You know, and it works. I mean, you still have the business.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. And we're getting ready to wrap up. We got about maybe 6 minutes, but anybody got any additional questions? Okay. Oh, that's a good question. Come on. Okay.
Hi. This is basically for the ladies. Of course, men need to be careful as well. But what I want to say is this: as an officiant, you're going to be called to go long distance sometimes. You're going to be called to go, you know, into maybe some neighborhoods that just aren't safe. You never know, okay? You never know who you're marrying. You don't know who's going to be at the wedding. You don't know what their cousins is like. You understand? So I would suggest that you have somebody that can ride with you. If you get a wedding in Seven Devils Mountain, you know, so, yeah, I see the look on your face. Seven Devils Mountain. I went with, it was my wife's wedding, and you know, we went up there. I went with her. 95% of the time I'm able to go. My schedule's hectic, but I try to squeeze. Anytime she has to go a distance, I try to go with her. Seven Devils Mountain. Come on, baby, go with me. All right. Seven Devils Mountain looks like you're going. It looks like you're going into hell. It's nothing but a mountain, and it was nighttime. It's up, 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 and it's around. It's scary looking. And when we got up there, I didn't see nobody that looked like me or my wife. So I was like, well, I'm glad I came with you. And I told her, I said, don't take no more weddings. Don't come up here no more. But just on a serious note, ladies, you know, if you're on your turf, if you're in Charlotte, and you know where you, that's one thing. But if you're going a distance, you know, take somebody with you. Take your husband with you, or take a male friend or something. You know what I mean, Rico? Yeah, take somebody with you. Okay, and that's all I got.
Thank you,
I
sweetheart.
have something to say.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I did. So, I, was fortunate enough to go on one of Reese's weddings with him. And we got there, very young couple. The aunt had the dress. It basically was 2 hours late. There was no coordination, nothing. Nice little venue. They had a brand new baby. Baby didn't have anybody, no one's holding the baby. They wanted the baby to be a part of the ceremony. So that's another thing about having somebody with you, because I was kind of able to kind of help him along the way because it was absolute chaos. And this was an actual wedding. And we got there, like I said, we waited for 2 hours. The mom had to go upstairs, nurse the baby. And then the dress finally got there. And then Reese was actually able to calm them down because they were just so freaked out that
They didn't want to sit together.
they didn't, yeah, the families were feuding. It was a mess. And then we got there and Reese was able to kind of calm them down. He went and talked to the groom first. He was a nervous wreck. I went upstairs and talked to the bride. She was a wreck because her dress hadn't gotten there. The makeup artist hadn't gotten there. The baby was crying and it was a lot going on. Finally, one of the aunts grabbed the baby. They wanted the baby to be outside, but it was just the baby was real upset. So what ended up happening was they did take the baby out. Once he kind of calmed everyone down, because you could tell everyone was getting antsy because it was so late, calmed it down, and the wedding went without without an issue. However, at the end, the family member noticed that how calm and how Reese just kind of brought it all together, and they tipped him. So sometimes you just not being upset and just not saying, okay, how long is it gonna take? How long is it gonna take? How long, kind of going this. They just came out of the blue. We were leaving. It was finally over. We were like, let's get out of here. And the aunt was like, did he tip you? And she gave him $125. So that's just kind of a little tip.
So yeah, that's another great thing, guys. I always recommend that you get there early. Scan the territory, scan your area. Even though you may have a rehearsal, you may not. Always get there early. I have that in my contract. I get there about 45 minutes early, so I'll know. Do I need to meet the bride? Do I need to meet can y'all go that way? I need to meet the bride. Can I meet the groom? Do I need to pray with you? I've had brides that say, you know what? Can you come in and pray with me? Because I'm a nervous wreck. So go in and pray with them. Find out where your groom is. Find out if he's okay, if he's nervous or upset, So those are the things that we do as wedding officiants. We are the person, we're the glue. I tell people all the time, without an officiant, this is just a big party. Pretty much. That's all it is a big party. We're the ones that make it legal. We're the ones that make it the day that, the bride and groom have come together and decided that they want to exchange these words in holy matrimony. And we're the ones that really are the glue that keeps it together. Okay. Anybody got any additional questions? Ness, did you have any questions? I'm sorry, Stephanie, did you have a question?
No.
Ness?
No, I don't have any additional questions.
Okay, all right, great. Guys, if you do need me to send you over some things like contracts, scripts, if you want me to help you set up your Google business page, please shoot me an email. You got my email, hello@katrinareese.com. Say, Katrina, I want to set up some time so you can help me, get my stuff in order. If you have not gone already online and gotten yourself registered and licensed, go ahead and do that. And then that way we can get started. If you want me to work with you, I am available to begin working with a lot of you. I've got some that have grandfathered in, and I've got a lot of you that are new, Maria, Pam, Stephanie, Rico, you and your wife, most definitely. So if you guys want me to work with you, I definitely, my calendar is definitely open and available. I made it a point to set up some time to begin to do this. And the reason why I want to do this, guys, is because I feel like God has placed this upon my heart to share what I've learned. Do I know everything? No. I'm still gleaning. I'm still learning from some of those officiants that are way higher up and doing, some great things. But I do believe God was showing me at this time in my life that it's time for me to take what I know and to pass it on, because that's what the scripture says. We are to be fruitful and multiply. And so I believe that I want to multiply the gifts and talents that I have and pass that along to those that love marriage, that love and want to do the same thing that I do. Okay. Anybody else got any additional questions before we close out?
The story that was just told is probably very bad for me to ask, but was a late fee included? Because
at that time, no, but you know what? He pretty much got a tip.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could kind of say that $150 that you got, 120. I think it was 125. It was 125. I think it was 125. Yeah, that was pretty much his tip.
What happened is this: the wedding went off the way my sister told you it went off, and we got everything done, and we were leaving. While we're leaving, who was that lady? His aunt, aunt and a guy, probably an uncle. They were coming in, and she knew that I was the officiant. So she spoke, and I spoke to her, and she says, "Hey," she flat out, she says, "Hey, did he tip?" She said, "Hey, did he tip you?" I said, no, ma'am. She told the guy, she said, "Give me some money." And just like that, she said, "Give me some money," and pulled out $125 and said, "Here, baby," and gave it to me. I said, "Bless your heart."
And they were young. They were like 21 years old.
Yeah, they were
very young. Yeah.
Real young.
So you're going to have moments, guys, where you're going to get tipped. I have moms tip me all the time. I have family members, and one more thing before we get off. Always ask for a review. Before you leave, reiterate to the bride and groom, hey, I'll be sending you my link for my review. Make sure you get it in, because that will definitely begin to give you the exposure that you guys need to be seen more and more. Okay. All right. So you guys got any more questions? We're 5 minutes over.
Katrina, I wanted to say something.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I wanted to thank you. You've truly, in our short time of working together, you truly was sent by the Spirit of God. You've expanded my ministry. You expanded my understanding of. I mean, I've been ordained 3 times, 3 different churches, minister, pastor, elder, and I think I've only done a ceremony out of 1 church, because the pastors were so strict in controlling everything. Looking at this as a business, that never even crossed my mind. So I just want to thank you for that, and to the fact that my wife is a marriage and family therapist, and we want to bring this together and truly be able to bless people. I haven't had any divorces in the 7 that I've done so far, but again, listening to you speak and the different topics and different options to be considering to bring to the marriage table, so to speak. I may have to remove that consciousness of, I don't want to see nobody get divorced, that I married, and like you said, it's up to them to make this thing work. So I just want to thank you and your awesome husband, and know that when he's not around and you're around me, I'm covering you, my sister. All right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Tell your wife, because your wife is a breast cancer survivor, correct?
Yeah, she just had a double mastectomy reconstruction completed last 2 weeks ago, and
Keep fighting. Hold on.
the awesome woman.
Keep
My
fighting.
she-
My sister, the one I was telling you about, was a
6
stage
years.
4
Yeah.
breast cancer.
6 years.
Stage 4.
Well, hopefully we can all meet up. Seriously, I would definitely love that. I would love for you to meet her and her to meet you, and I want to meet my man Reese, and just, you know, it's nothing like breaking bread and connecting personally.
Right.
He's here locally. He's in
Oh,
Charlotte.
we're gonna get together.
We
You in
also gonna
Charlotte?
do that. We're gonna
Yeah.
do something.
In Concord.
Everybody
Concord,
together.
yeah.
Yeah.
And congratulations for your wife, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely, my brother.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you again, guys. Let me get off of mute.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna let y'all finish having your Sunday, finish watching the football games, feeding your families, eating. You know, you guys, love you so much. Thank you so much. Guys, my email address is open. Email me for any additional questions that you got. I'm here for you, okay? Thank you.
All right. Take care, y'all.
Bye-bye.